In this video, we're going to cover how to never pay sales tax on Amazon ever again. This is going to reduce the price of every single product that you purchase on Amazon and save you hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars, especially if you're using Amazon as one of your sole suppliers pretty consistently. Now, before we hop into my computer and I show you exactly how to do this from start to finish, I do want to stress that this is not tax advice. You should only be doing this if you have a business and your purpose for these goods is resale. When you buy products with the intention of reselling them, you are not the end consumer, and so therefore you do not need to pay the sales tax. Also, if you're new to the channel, my name is Bryan. I run an e-com company that does multiple six figures a year in profit, and I want to help you do the same.
All right, so this is the URL that you want to start on. If you obviously don't have this URL, it's easy to find. You just go to Google, you type in get tax exempt on Amazon, and it is this one right here, the Amazon Tax Exemption Program. And that will take you to a page that looks like this, right? And so that what you want to do now is you want to go through and you want to select all of these specific states. Now, you're not going to get tax exempt in every specific state. I think I'm tax exempt in most, but there are certain ones that I'm not tax exempt for. It's going to depend and differ state to state based on which ones you're going to struggle with getting tax exempt in and which ones are going to be relatively easy to you. I'm going to show you what works for me. Obviously, this is just anecdotal, what works for me. Some of these you might get done easier if you have an EIN or a resale certificate in a different state, but obviously those are the prerequisites, okay? So the ones that I have a tax exemption or I have a resale certificate for my business in Pennsylvania. So these ones are going to be specific for me, but chances are the majority of these are going to work for you as well. And I want to also stress that the easiest way to do this is obviously follow my lead here with the ones that I'm going to tell you might struggle with, but then just go to the end of it, and whichever ones are giving you trouble, then just come back to the very beginning. You can just hit the back button. You'll see it down at the bottom once we go through these little prompts here, and then go back, uncheck that one if it's giving you trouble, and then just go back through the prompts again and redo it all. That's the easiest way to do it, to reverse engineer, to make sure that you obviously get tax exempt for as many potential states as you possibly can, so that if you're buying and shipping to addresses in those states, you're not paying sales tax on them. So the ones that give me trouble usually are Alaska. We're going to uncheck that one. California, we're going to uncheck that one. DC, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois always gives me trouble. They have a weird thing with like Chicago and Illinois. I'm not really sure what it is, but it always gives me trouble, so I just don't check it. And then we come down, we go to Mississippi, we uncheck that one. New York always gives me trouble as well. We'll uncheck that one. South Carolina is unchecked, and the rest of these look pretty good, right? So ideally, we would be tax exempt for all of these states, not counting the ones that we're shipping products to if our buyer is in those specific states. So we're going to click Save and Continue. And it's going to take us to this next page where it's going to ask us, in the state of Colorado, do you have a local tax exemption? I would just say, no, this doesn't apply to me. Here, it's going to ask you, like, what's the exemption status of your business and why are you qualified? I always put in resale. And here it's basically just showing you the specific forms that you're going to need, or, the specific exemptions you're going to need to get tax exempt in all the states that you had checked. So just click continue. That's just information. Now, this is blurred out because obviously I don't want to show you my specific business information, but you can see the things over here. You just want to fill these out. Organization name, right? What's your business name? Organization description, that's always resale. Business line, like what's your address, obviously. You're going to put your address in there, and then you're just going to type your name and authorized signer name right here, and obviously your title is going to be CEO or, whatever it is, obviously, for your specific business. All right, so now's the fun part. Now is where you're going to fill out your specific form. Now, the very first one right here is Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if that's because my resale certificate is in Pennsylvania, or if that's just because Pennsylvania specifically needs a Rev 1220. I believe that it's because Pennsylvania, because when I do it on eBay, they always ask you for this specific form for Pennsylvania as well. So if obviously you don't have a business formed in PA, then uncheck Pennsylvania. And now right here, it's going to ask you, what's your exemption type? So I always put resale. Right here, it's going to ask you the type of business that you performed. I always put retail trade. Then you're going to go down right here through the prompts for specific states, okay? And those are all going to be the same thing. So you're always going to say, okay, well, this is for me specifically because I'm in PA. So obviously take this with a grain of salt. If you have a business in West Virginia, or you have a business in Wisconsin or Vermont or whatever, then obviously you're going to click yes and go through the prompts there for whatever the information is, right? You should have your EIN already, and you should have your resale certificate. So your 8-digit resale certificate number, as well as I believe it's a 10-digit EIN number. So we're just going to go through each one of these specifically. So because I have a business in PA, I'm going to say obviously no for all of these because I don't have a registration number for these. So I'm going to come down and click no for all of these. And then you just want to go through the prompts here, right? Like, okay, do you have an Arkansas registration number? No, I do not. So enter one of the following: an out-of-state number, which would be your out-of-state resale permit for your specific state, or your federal identification number, which is going to be your EIN, okay? So I always go with the out-of-state if it's possible there. And then obviously mine would be PA. And I would type in my PA sales tax license number, and then I would this is like an 8-digit number that you should get obviously from the IRS once you go through and you file for your resale certificate. So that's always going to be the same 8-digit number. And then the same thing for Georgia here. Obviously I have an out-of-state number. It's going to be PA because that's where my EIN is from. I have the Pennsylvania sales tax license number, which again is going to be that same 8-digit number right there. This is not your EIN. This is your retail certificate number, okay? And then for every single one of these right here in this top bracket where it goes through like all the way down to Wyoming for me specifically, it's going to be the same thing, right? No, you don't have a number, out-of-state number, whatever your state is, and then your retail certificate number in there. Right here for Massachusetts specifically, obviously that's not an option to give the resale certificate. So you need your federal EIN. So go federal employer identification number. Obviously, okay, so it's 9-digit. I said 10, I'm corrected. So enter your 10-digit federal EIN. This is with no dashes. So usually when you get a federal EIN, it's going to be like 2 numbers, a dash, and then 7 more numbers. So make sure you take the dash out and put all 9 numbers in there, right? And then when it asks you to describe the property that you're going to be selling, it's always tangible goods and services for resales always in there. Since I'm not selling services, I just delete that. I just say tangible goods for resale, and then I move on, all right? Now I'm engaged and registered as a retailer. That's what we're doing here. Describe generally the property you're going to be purchasing. Again, that's tangible goods for resale. And then the same thing goes with all of these, but I believe it's going to be EIN. So, oh, no, it's not. So same thing as the ones above right here. So do you have an Alabama registration number? No, I do not, but I do have a PA one. And then you're just going to put in your resale certificate. So most of the time it's going to be out-of-state number. It's going to let you put out-of-state number in, and then you can select your state and put your reseller's license number in there, like I said. Every once in a while, you'll click one of these when you say no, like Idaho, for example, where it'll ask you to put your EIN in. And then in this case, you want to look for the examples, right? If it doesn't have an example and just asks you to put your EIN in there, put all 9 digits without a dash. If it gives you the example like it does here with the dash, then you want to include the dash in there, okay? So that's just a little distinction that tripped me up in the beginning. Something that stupid is literally what tripped me up and wouldn't let me get it to submit it. So just make sure you're going through slowly each one. Always click no, or obviously yes if you have that, and then input your state if you have that state. If you don't, click no. Always go for the out-of-state number first. If it doesn't let you do that, then go federal EIN. And if it's federal EIN, either put all 9 digits in there if there's no example of a dash, or all 9 digits with the dash after 2 if it shows you the example. Now right here, it's going to be tangible personal property for resale. As we move down, it's going to be the same thing, right? Do you have a Virginia registration number? No, I have an out-of-state. It's for PA. Here's my reseller's license number. Are you doing business under any other name? I'm not. You might be. If you are, obviously, and you have a DBA, then click yes and put your name in there. I do not. So then after that, we're going to click save and continue.
Ultimately, this is just what works for me and how I get tax exempt on Amazon for my business. This video also presupposes that you already have a business set up and you already have a reseller's permit or a reseller's license. If you don't, that's where you'll want to start because you can't get tax exempt without that. Now, I had done a video, it's about 5 minutes long, on exactly that process. It will show you from A to Z how to get a reseller's permit for your specific state. That video should be linked up in the right-hand corner right now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got a lot of value from it. If you got any value from it whatsoever, please give it a like. I genuinely appreciate it. Until next time.